Hello and welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today is our final webinar for the year, with next week being Christmas, the year after that being New Year's. Wow, that year has snuck by quickly. So for the last one today, I want to show you something pretty cool. And this has to do with Alpha TransForm. And it is the brand new UI, which has just gone into beta. You can actually play with it yourself over at transformbeta.alphasoftware.com. And I wanted to show this off because I think you're going to find it a lot easier to use, a lot more intuitive, and actually just a lot more fun to work with. So I put together a little video showing you what the changes are, what the updates from the old system are to the new one. And I think you're going to enjoy it. So we will take it away. Oh, one last thing. Sometimes when I play videos, they do not have sound or something like that for some of the folks listening. If you do have an issue with that, I'm going to just in the chat window paste an alternate link to this video, which I'm going to do right now. But for the rest of you, we will just go ahead and start our video. Starting now. Hello. We're going to be talking about the new interface for Alpha TransForm. If you've used Alpha TransForm up till about, well, December 2024, you're probably used to a certain look on the interface when it comes to this menu up here, when it comes to this start page, and when it comes to the choices down here on the left. We're introducing a brand new user interface that we hope is going to be more intuitive, both for you folks who have been using this for a while, as well as for people who are brand new. So let's take a look at that interface now. And I'm going to be showing you the differences between those two interfaces, so that if you're used to using the old Alpha TransForm, you'll know how to use the new one. So let's take a look. Here is the new TransForm look. You'll see it looks very different here on the home screen and up here at the top. Let's go back. Up here on the old interface, we had 5 tabs: Home, Dashboard, Designer, Permissions, and Management Console. On the new one, we have fewer because what we have done is we have removed the Permissions tab and we've actually placed it up here into the configuration area of the software where we thought it made more sense. Back on the old interface, we had a fill in a form, design a form, or edit or view a previously filled in form as your 3 starting buttons as soon as you logged in. With the new interface, you can also fill in forms, design forms, or edit forms, but you do it a little bit differently. Here in the new interface, all of the forms that you have in your account are actually displayed as tiles here on the screen. And if you want to take a look at a previously filled in form instance, all you do is you click on that button right here where it says View Form Instance for the form you like. For example, we'll do it here for the 5S audit. And when I click on it, it grabs those instances from the server and it shows it here in the Management Console. Another thing that's a little bit different is that in the past we had a tab called Management Console. We've decided to just call that Management from now on, but it's basically the same Management Console functionality that you're used to in previous versions. All right, going back to the Home tab, that's how you view instances. If you wanted to edit a particular form that you had created before, instead of going into the designer, which you can still do, and choose your form, you can actually do it directly here from the home screen by clicking the tool icon for the particular form. Clicking that will bring you directly into the designer with the form you wanted selected already. Okay, another thing you can do is fill out a new form instance. And to do that, you click on any one of these for any one of the forms that you would like to fill out. This launches a window which lets you fill out that particular form. You can also still use the online web form filler like before if you prefer and not use TransForm Central. But you can get to that pretty easily from Transform Central using the new Apps option up here in the menu. Apps shows you the applications that are available with Transform Central. The first one is the Web Filler, which is an online application for filling in your forms. If I click on that right now, it'll bring me in. And that's got a separate login, but it lets me in. We're going to go ahead and click out of that. And it also gives me the QR codes as well as the download links for the mobile applications. So if, for example, you're looking at Transform Central, maybe on an iPad or something like that, you can tap on the download for iOS to get the mobile filler app installed onto that device. Also, these QR codes you can use to scan on either Android or iOS and have them download and up onto your device as well. Now, let's say that you wanted to create a brand new form. Again, you could go back into the designer, click on designer and say new, but another way to do it is right here from the home tab. Add a new form type is one of the tiles. And if I click on add a new form type, you'll see that I have the same choices that I would if I were in the designer. I can create a new one from the template. I can create a blank one, or I can copy an existing form. And if I click on that, I can select from one of the existing forms right here. So that's all functionality which is available as soon as you log in. There's also a quick search that lets you find a particular form type. So in the 5S audit case, I'm going to type the number 5, and there's my 5S audit form. Okay, so that is that when it comes to the home screen. Now, dashboard is still similar to how it was before. We'll go back into the dashboard view here, and you can select your dashboards on the dashboard tab, but you can also now do it in the home tab. So in the home tab, if you scroll down, you'll see the section called dashboards. And these are the two dashboards that I have defined for my account. I can go directly to those dashboards, or I can see the data that's used to generate the dashboard in a Management Console interface. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in this case. Let's choose the one for account usage, and I'm going to click on linked data, and it's going to go ahead and bring me to the dashboard, and it's going to show me the forms that are used in that. I don't have any forms that were used in that one, so it's a very terrible example. Sorry about that, but if I did, they would appear there. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is that you do have a status area up here, which shows you the number of form types and dashboards, and when the last activity was here on your account, which is a new feature now that you can see here in the Home tab. So now let's go up here. I've already shown you the Apps option, but let's take a look at Configure, Account, and this one, which I call the User Menu. Now, in the previous version, this is what the user menu looked like. In fact, the only thing it let you do is confirm login. So as you recall, when you log into Alpha Transform, your login stays good for 2 days. When it expires, you come up here and click this to re-log in or to log in again. You still have that option here in the new interface, but instead of it telling you when it's going to time out, it just basically gives you this little indicator up here to let you know that you are still logged in. Now when I click on this, you'll get to see the confirm login choices now here. So click on that, that'll get you to confirm login. It also shows you when your login will expire. This also now contains preferences. So if we go back to the old setting and you wanted to change your preferences, you would do that here under Change Preferences. And the preferences you had to do with two-factor authentication and when you would like to be notified. You could also change your display name here, and you could change your password here as well. You could do the same thing in the new interface. It's just a little bit different. So over here, we're going to click on the name, and you're going to see under Preferences, we still have the choice of what type of two-factor authentication you would like, and you could set those there. And under Profile, you have the ability to type in your username here, and you can reset your password there as well. So things that are related directly to you and your profile happen here in this setting. Things, on the other hand, that happen at the account level have now been moved into this account menu. If we take a look at the old way of doing it, under account settings, we had account usage, which showed you where you were in the month. I had a free plan, for example, and I'm only allowed 30 users and 30 form instances, and it would show me where I was. I could also take a look at my license keys and add new license keys. I could change the account name. I could create a new account from here, and I could change preferences as to how I want to be notified when it comes to, as to how users should be notified when it comes to two-factor authentication. So all of these options here are also available in the new version. I'll show you that in a second, but I also want to point out that there are more options than just two-factor authentication. Sorry about that. But you can also adjust the email invitations and things like that, the what is going to appear in the email, the subjects of emails when they're sent out, and you have a lot of other fine granularity here. But what we're going to do now is take a look at this new interface, and we'll see how all of those account settings are set up here. So now when I click on Account, you're going to see Preferences, Billing and Usage, and Members. And I'm going to go back to this first one. Whoops. And these are all the same settings that you had in the previous. These are all the same settings that you had in the previous interface. They're just tucked up here nicely. Also, when it comes to changing the name of the account, you can do that right up here by clicking on the pencil icon and typing in a new name and clicking the check mark. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. So the last thing to cover is the configuration section, and let's take a look at that. Configuration was a mixture of developer options and integrations. Okay, so back here we have developer options and integration and more, and these, for the most part, have been migrated over here into the configuration section. So things like getting an API key, revoking an API key, defining on-submit events and on-device assets, and other account settings, which are sort of the more technical things, we've placed over here in Configure. So I'm going to go ahead and click Configure and show you what that's like. So the first thing are just the general settings, and this was just the JSON file, which you may or may not have set up for your account. I don't have mine set up here. The next one is permissions, which I had mentioned before used to be a tab in the old interface, but is now available here under Configure. But you'll see that the permissions tab itself looks very much like the permissions tab looked before. So it's just been moved here under Configure. For actions, we now have a builder here that makes it a little bit easier to edit the JSON string for adding those on-submit actions. Of course, you could still use Alpha Anywhere if you want to use a graphical user interface to build this whole thing. The event log has been updated here and allows searches. On-device assets now allows you to add on-device assets directly from the interface here. You just click on the Add button, specify the URL to the asset that you would like to have included on the mobile device, and then any target folder, if there is one, you can put here. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. Policies and queues have pretty much remained the same. We've given you a slightly better JSON editor for working on those. Under API keys, we have a brand new interface that shows you a little bit more about what each of the policies are when you add them. It also shows all of the API keys that are current, and it allows you to copy them, view them, revoke them, and so on. Connected applications, which was previously here under connected applications, which allowed you to basically set up things so that when a form is submitted, you could save that data to Google Drive or to Dropbox or to another location. That is now available still here under integrations, under connected apps. And then lastly, we have our Zapier integration, which is still here. So if you click here and you've got a Zapier account, you can log in. If you don't have a Zapier account, you can create one and it will let you build out zaps that you can use with Alpha Anywhere to build out sophisticated integrations. All right, the other thing that this used to have was a videos section. We are now putting all of our help materials together up here in the help window, which you can click on. When you click on it, it's going to look a little different than this. This is just a sample that we're working on, but the final version is going to have videos, documentation, release notes, and so forth, like we have listed here. And those are the big changes. We hope that you find this new interface to be easier and faster and more intuitive to use, but we are always looking for feedback. You can always send us comments to tfservice, as in transform service, at alphasoftware.com. Thanks for watching. All right, so the video is over. I hope you found that informative. We did get some questions during the session, so let's just go through them now. The first question had to do, well, first of all, let me show you how to actually get to this new interface if you want to start playing around with it. If you're at transformbeta.alphasoftware.com, you can click the Switch to New User Interface link here, and this will open up the interface. Looks like I have to log in again, or maybe my login expired. All right, and I'll choose an account. I'm going to choose the one that I used here in the video because that was where one of the questions came from. So let me go ahead and do that. Oops, I forgot I am using an authenticator. So hang on a second while I finish that process. One moment. All right, transform, here it is. Oh, did my code change? Oops. All right, or did I just type it in wrong? Okay, hang on, yeah, it changed, sorry. Okay. All right, here we go. So the first question had to do with what is the significance of these lines here on the side? Those are actually part of the design of the form. So this non-conformance form, for example, if I took a look at the form definition, which should just take a second to load, you will see under advanced features, I've got, oh, no, I didn't put it here. Where did I put it? Oh, set color and image. I had set the color right here for the form that way. So if I just turn that back to clear or off or blue or whatever, I can just do that, click save. And then when I go back to the home, you should see that that's been updated. This might be, okay, so I put a white stripe on here now instead of a green. This might be actually a cool way if you wanted to color code a bunch of different forms, like all the blue ones mean this, all the yellow ones mean that, might be a feature that you would like to use. Next question is, does the web filler require a license for the person completing the web form? The answer is yes. They do need to be a named user, in other words, have an account in TransForm in order to fill out a form. Although we are thinking about changing that in the future to allow people without accounts to fill in forms and then do something like a charge based on the number of forms per month rather than charging on the number of users like we do now. And let me see, are there any other questions? There aren't. We do have an Alpha Anywhere question. And so it says this person is interested in enabling or disabling a field based on a value in a list. Happy to put together an example for that. If you could send in an email to guides@alphasoftware.com, I'm happy to make you a little video, which I can share here with the group. Do we have any other questions? It doesn't look like it. Okay. Hey, thank you very much. I hope everyone has wonderful holidays and a great new year. And I look forward to seeing you back in 2025 at our next Alpha Software demo and Q&A webcast. Until then, take care. Stay well. Bye-bye.